As if that wasn't bad enough, in November of 2019, things took a turn for the worse. In November of 2019, Tatiana had this good friend named Lisa Lorenzo, and every year Lisa would throw this huge, big Friendsgiving potluck. Everybody would get together, they would eat, they would bring food, they would kind of just catch up, talk, have a good time, just really enjoy each other's company. Well, that year, everybody who went to the Friendsgiving was a woman. They had all left their husbands, their sons, their brothers, all of the other men at home so that they could have like a ladies' night out, a girls' night, a girls' Friendsgiving. So they sat down, started talking, started eating, drinking, just like usual. But then people started feeling very sick, like really sick. Almost to the point where people were feeling like, okay, something is seriously wrong here. Why are all of us feeling so ill? They barely even made it through the main course before people were running to the bathroom, just like fighting nausea, getting stomach cramps, having all sorts of different terrible symptoms. And it wasn't just a little bout of food poisoning, or maybe the meat wasn't cooked through all the way. 12 people ended up needing to leave in ambulances because their reactions to whatever was going on, they were so severe that they needed medical treatment immediately. And this was beyond weird, okay? I mean, first of all, because it takes a while for food poisoning to really like set in and start getting bad. I will say firsthand, I am like so susceptible to food poisoning. That's, if I'm being real with myself, that's probably because I DoorDash and Postmate way too frequently, and it probably wouldn't happen if I would just like figure out how to cook. But I get food poisoning on average probably at least once a year. And so I know the exact onset, I know how to combat it, I know what I need to do, I know I need to go and get an IV, and that's what's going to make me feel better. I need Zofran in that IV, I need to then power through some Gatorade. Like I know, it's like, and you like throw up like clockwork. It's like every 30 minutes on the minute, you're throwing up. So it's like, but it takes a while to set in, is my point in all of that. I don't know why I just overshared, but my point is it takes a while to set in, usually around 12 hours until you're like, oh shoot, something's wrong, I'm feeling sick. It's not like you take a bite of something and immediately the onset happens and you're just like violently ill. That's not how it works. But this is kind of how Thanksgiving played out. Everybody was like sitting, laughing, feeling great, eating, and then just like bam, all of a sudden they were all violently ill, feeling so sick. And it was almost like this food had been deliberately poisoned, not in a food poisoning type of way, but actual poison. However, it was really hard to say for sure because the police and other officials actually ended up testing all of the food from the dinner. I mean, not only had a dozen people gotten sick, yes, and that's a huge issue in and of itself, but a lot of these people were like major players, rich women, powerful women, people who owned businesses, elected government officials. I mean, major power players. So this was a major, serious problem that everybody had become so sick. So they ran the tests and they checked everything out. But they found nothing. There was no hard proof that the food had ever been tampered with, but also nothing tested positive for salmonella or any other diseases that you might actually expect in this kind of situation. What's the other one, like E. coli or something like that? So the best guess that anybody could come up with while trying to figure out what did the sickness really stem from, what was the root cause of this, was that it must have happened with the Brussels sprouts. And the reason they thought that is because even though it didn't test as anything, the more Brussels sprouts that people ate, the more sicker people became. It was almost like that was the trigger. So that became the working theory. Like it must have been the Brussels sprouts because every time Mary or Sally or whomever ate it, that's when they got sick. I mean, it clearly wasn't the most scientific or airtight theory out there, but it was the best that anybody could come up with. And it's also worth mentioning that Tatiana was the one who brought the Brussels sprouts to Friendsgiving. So if somebody did tamper with that dish in any way or deliberately try to poison someone, it must have happened inside Tatiana's home when she was preparing the dish.